Hello, Satnam. It's me, Shakti Sundari, and I'm back with you today, this evening, in London anyway, to talk a little bit more about Daniel Odier's book, Desire, the Tantric Path to Awakening. And today's video is called Practice, Presence, and Pleasure. Really excited because there's this thing, Lightstream, that I'm using to do these transmissions, right? They've just upgraded the software, so now I can see if anybody is making any comments as I'm talking, which is great, because previously I was just looking at my computer camera and talking away, and I couldn't see if people were responding or anything. So now I should be able to see if anybody's watching and if anybody's responding, which is great. So practice, presence, and pleasure. The chapter that I'm reading from and inspired by today, actually in the book, is called The Essence of Satisfaction. And it just kind of sparked off for me that Rolling Stones number, you know, I can't get no satisfaction. I can't get no. Well, anyway, that one. And I was just thinking how so many of us go through life, like with that being the theme song to our lives, like I can't get no satisfaction for whatever reason. And, you know, so this little bit from the book and my own commentary on it, as always, I will summarize and then read. It's basically saying that the practice of being present to life fully and totally generates so much satisfaction and so much pleasure, which can actually be pretty intense, that you are fully satisfied and potentially even awakened. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Yeah, that is it in a nutshell. So then you're no longer dependent on anything outside of yourself for your happiness. You're no longer dependent on needing to have intense experiences to feel fulfilled, because the smallest thing, anything, any part of life can be so fulfilling just in your interaction with it when you're fully present to it. So there's the practice of being present, which you begin with as a practice by becoming aware of what's happening within your body and within your being, and becoming aware of everything that is transpiring for you as you interact with life through your sensory system, right, and through your body. And then bit by bit, it's kind of like you build up that muscle so that eventually you are being present without it being a practice anymore. You just are. And, you know, actually, I have to say that as I was reading these words again, I go back to them and I read them for about the third or fourth time last night. The power of these words was such that when I really interacted with them myself, my Kundalini energy was stirred. So I was feeling ripples and waves of bliss moving through my physical and energetic body simply as a result of receiving the transmission of these words. And that's the power of being fully present and fully open and being receptive to life. I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it? What else do I need? You know, it's like, it's just me in a book and these words, and I'm getting high on it. So let me just read a little bit to you from chapter 16, The Essence of Satisfaction. Okay, I won't read the whole thing, be a bit long. Wherever you find satisfaction, this is from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, by the way. It's a quote. Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, the most ancient, or one of the most ancient and most well-known tantric texts. Wherever you find satisfaction, the very essence of bliss will be revealed to you if you remain in this place without wavering. To practice this stanza and live the sensations that a tantrika knows, experiencing them yourself, each day according to your sensitivity and your mood, choose to enter into total communication with the objects of your desire. Or more simply, that doesn't mean people you fancy, by the way. Just to be clear, that just means perhaps the cup of tea that you're holding and sipping right now, perhaps the piece of chocolate you're just munching on, you know, perhaps the sun that you cast your eyes upon as you leave the front door, okay? Or more simply, with the states that spontaneously present themselves and that harbor the power to bring you a satisfaction you no doubt underestimate. I would say so. I would say most of us are going through life underestimating the power of pleasure and satisfaction available to us in every moment by the simplest of things. And that is the crux of this. It's like the simplicity of the pleasure and the ecstasy that is like right there in front of our noses. So, for example, Daniel Odier gives us some suggestions. As soon as you awaken, enter into consciousness in your body, considered the temple of the divine. The temple of the divine, your body, okay? Observe physiological changes, sensation of breath, of tensions, heartbeat, blood flow, diaphragm, etc. This, in this much detail, note the start of mental activity, the flow of sensation and emotion. Do this like an extended interior cinematic moving shot of the interior landscapes. I love that. Consciously withdraw from this awareness and return to your habitual manner of doing things, that is, to automatic pilot. And he talks about this a lot, about us going into automatic pilot and then becoming aware again. So it's like making a practice of becoming fully aware. And then, even just for 20 seconds, and then just taking your consciousness away and going back into autopilot, into that way that we habitually do things without thinking, without being conscious. I know, it's quite a bold statement, but I'm going to say it. Yeah, I know that most of us, a lot of the time, are doing things completely unconsciously without awareness. And this might seem like something very simple or maybe very difficult, I don't know, for you to pay that much attention. And you might think, what's the point of that? Well, try it and discover, because there is basically, through that simple act of paying full attention to what is happening for you, I promise you, there is exquisite ecstasy available to you in this moment without any need for anything to be going on externally and anybody to be doing anything for you. It's just there inside you. And also that in itself will gift you an experience of your own infinite power and your own godlike nature. It's that powerful. Has to be done to be experienced, though. Don't take my word for it or Daniel Odier's word for it. Continue in this manner, consciously entering into and then emerging from presence. He also talks about, for example, paying attention to how you walk, the sensation of the floor beneath your feet, what it feels like to cut a piece of bread, to spread the butter. I mean, this amount of detail. Be present. If you succeed with this light, open awareness in the spirit of a game, so it's playful, we don't take ourselves seriously, we don't effort, we don't strive, free from all religious or spiritual ideas, you will make, starting from the first day, a series of major discoveries that will help you to be totally alive. You don't need to be a Buddhist or Tantrika. You don't even need to be interested in spirituality. It's a matter of but one reality. Get this, your desire to be in the world totally, without inhibition, without fear, without anxiety. The desire to be wholly available to life suffices. So you don't actually have to be a dedicated spiritual this, Buddhist that, Tantric that. You don't actually have to have a zillion practices going on. It's just like, are you willing and ready to be fully immersed in life? Are you ready to be totally here, like without some crazy mental thought of, oh, I can't do this, I can't say that, I can't, I shouldn't, like fuck off, load of crap, bollocks, what is that? Just be here now. You don't need the interpretation or the the intermediary of the mind to be present, because when you're present, the mind just shuts up anyway, and then you're experiencing life, and then it's blissful. Simple, isn't it? What passionate things will you discover? Looks like the stream's gone blank. I'm going to keep talking anyway and hope that it will come back. Hopefully you can still hear my voice. What passionate things will you discover? You will see that each time you succeed in seizing life, your breath will relax harmoniously. Next, you will discover that true presence brings you pleasure incommensurate with events. The most banal thing, a cup of tea, a few steps, opening a door, a glance at the sky, can be enough to make you happy during the time you are present and well after. Guys, I'm sorry the screen's gone blank apparently, but I hope you can still hear my voice. You will discover that if you can find such pleasure in presence, then your joy no longer depends on exceptional circumstance, waited for in a state of neurotic tension, but on simple reality. It will follow very quickly that your expectations will no longer be focused on hypothetical or uncertain objects, so nothing external to you, but on whatever your experience reveals to you about everyday ordinariness. Isn't that wonderful? We can wake up and experience bliss in the most ordinary aspects of life. It will, read that bit. Read that bit. You will discover that nothing or no one can take this pleasure away from you. Your independence will increase. You will discover your body and mind love this communication so much they will unite and ask you for more. You will perceive that with presence to the world, there is no ego, therefore no separation, no duality. Your body will regain a feeling of plenitude and calm. People around you will be much more deeply affected by your presence than by your speeches and your spiritual theories. Presence is contagious. So, the steady practice of presence is all that is needed for intense satisfaction and intense pleasure. Little by little, you will realize that what is hidden behind the most inaccessible treatises, the most sophisticated philosophy, the most secret practices is simply this. You will then approach the source from which all spiritual and mystical paths spring, and in unceasingly deepening your naked presence to the world, you will experience what we call awakening. That's it. That's it. Start with the practice of presence to every micro experience. Take yourself in and out of that with increasing, frequency? That's the word I was looking for. Allow yourself go back into automatic pilot and then bring yourself back like a game, playfully, joyfully, lightly. And notice how your satisfaction and pleasure in living increases more and more the more you are present to life. It's that simple. Pleasure opens up to you without the need for an object, without the need for anything, but being here now. That's it. That's the awakening. That's the bliss. So simple. Thank you if you're still watching, even though it looks like the screen is blank. I'm going to go ahead and look and see if there are any comments. So much love, many blessings, and Sat Nam to you, which means, by the way, truth. Truth is my name. Much love.